Arjuna's first speech in Bhagavad Gita. So in the Bhagavad Gita, here Arjuna is going to speak, but before he speaks, few important things mentioned. Atvayavasthitan drashtva. So the first word mentioned here is drashtva. So please make a note of this word. We'll count the occurrences of this word. Drashtva, pashyati, apashyati, all that. So we can make a note of this. Drashtva 120 is mentioned. Atvayavasthan drashta, after seeing, is Dhartarashtra. So Dhartarashtra refers to, the previous verse says, the sons of Dhritarashtra. So at that time, Arjun, Prabhupada writes, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman. Yes, Kapit Dhwajaha. So that's also important word. Kapit Dhwaja. Now, why specifically mentioned here? Now, there will be many Dhwaja. Dhwaja means flag. There will be many flags, and actually said all these Maharathis had their individual flags so that they can be identified. So only Arjuna's flag is mentioned, not any other Maharathi is mentioned, because it is so important. Why it's important? Dhwaja is flag, but this flag is marked with Kapi. Kapi is Hanumanji. Huh? So there's a nice story which I will not say. Hanumanji, on the request of Bhima, has entered into this Dhwaja of Arjuna, which is the chariot given by Agni. And he is not just in the form of picture. Huh? He's active there. So although he looks in the form of a picture, but he's active. Like when we worship deity, the atheists will say, oh, you are worshipping some stone statues. But we know, the Pujari knows, the deities are not just a stone statue. They are live. They accept our service. So similarly, this Kapi, Hanumanji, was very active. And how he was active is explained. But just to give you a little idea of Hanumanji's strength, just a little idea. There's a lot to say there. But when Bhima met Hanumanji in this Dwapar Yuga, he said, Hanumanji, can you show me that form which you took when you went to Lanka? Please, can you show me that form? Hanumanji asked him, would you like anything? He said, can you please show me that form? And Hanumanji said, I cannot show you that form. And Bhima is like, why you can't show me the form? He said, that form is so big, if I make that form now, this Dwapar Yuga, and that was in Treta Yuga, this Prithvi will shake, it will come out of its orbit. So Hanumanji, that form in Treta Yuga was so big, he cannot show that form in Dwapar Yuga to Bhima. Now you can imagine the Shakti of Hanumanji. He said, I can't show. So, and then Bhima requested, please help us in the war. And there's another big story of Bhima and Hanuman and how he helped. Anyway, so finally it was settled that I will enter into the Dhwaja of Arjuna's chariot, but I will be shouting. Hanumanji took the task of shouting. Now, shout is a very big thing, isn't it? You're peacefully having prasad and someone just shouts in the room. Everyone will turn around that, right? So when these warriors were fighting Pandavas and Kauravas soldiers, Hanumanji will automatically, in the middle, just shout and shout so loudly, they'll just get scared. And then they realize that this Dhwaja, this flag, this picture on the flag is just not a picture. It's live. It's speaking. Not speaking, it's shouting. And this shout is of Hanumanji. If you ask me to shout, I'll shout once or twice. Maybe you'll not be able to hear him in the next room. When Hanumanji shouted, it was Hanuman's shout. It shattered the heart. And he kept doing it for 18 days. So it was pretty big help of Hanumanji. There's much more to say here, but we'll just move on. So Kapi Dhwaja, it's important. Kapi, Hanumanji is helping. Pravarte Sakta Sampate Dhanadam Pandava Hishikesham. Now Hishikesh word, as Vijay Mataji was saying earlier. So Hishikesh word is the master of the senses. And so we have many words used for Krishna. How many words used for Krishna in whole Bhagavad Gita? Thank you. And for Arjuna, someone else can say? Rupa Prabhu has answered the first question. 33 words of Krishna used in Bhagavad Gita. How many names of Arjun mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? How many unique names of Arjun?
20.
Thank you, Sakhi Radhika Mataji. 20 different names of Arjun mentioned, and every single word is very important, very significant. So, Hishikesham, Tada Vakyam Idam Aha Mahipate. So now Arjun is going to speak to Hrishikesh. We'll talk about this, why this word is used here. So now Arjun will speak to Krishna, just a slight speaking now, and then some action will take place, and then Arjun will speak a series of verses, which we have mentioned earlier. Arjun gives 5 reasons for not fighting. But this time it's just a little speech here. Okay. Who would like to read these?
Can
One
I
and
read,
a half
Prabhu?
verses, sort of.
Can I read,
Hare
Prabhu?
Krishna, Jai Prabhu. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. Arjuna Uvacha
Arjuna Vacha
Tenayorubhayormadhye
Teniyor Madhye
Ratam Stapayeme Achyuta
Ratham Stapayame Achyuta
Yavad Etan Niriksheham
Yavad Etan Niriksheham
Yodhu Kaman Avastitan
Yodhutam Avasthitam
Kairmayas Saha Yodhavyam
Karmayam Saha Yodhavyam
Asmin Rana Samudyame.
Asmin Rana Samudyame.
Arjuna, sure, Prabhu, thank you. Arjuna said, "O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms."
Okay, so this is nice. Senior Ubhyor Madhya. Whom he is speaking with? His chariot driver. So here Arjun is like a prince or Raja. He's telling his chariot driver, Senior Ubhyor Madhya. So it's very simple. Sena, your Ubhyor. Ubhay means both sides. Madhya means in the middle. So please take Ratham, my Ratha, Sthapaya, and situated my Ratha, Achyut. And the word used for Krishna here uses Achyut. So please, hey Achyut, take my Ratha, take my chariot in the middle of both armies. So that's the first instruction given by Arjun to his chariot driver. Why I'm saying chariot driver? I'll talk about it. That's just the translation first. So Yavadeta Niriksheham. So why I want to take my chariot there? So you tell your friend, take my car to 185th Street. The next question you'll ask, why 185th Street, isn't it? There's a soccer match there? No, there's a temple there. Huh? So there's obviously always 2 things you can say. One is the target, where are you going, and why are you going? Huh? So where means you put in GPS. You don't tell GPS, I'm going to temple to eat prasadam. You tell GPS where you want to go. GPS doesn't care why you're going. But if you're talking to a person, you will explain him where to go and what are you going to achieve there. Now he is saying, Yavadeta Nirikshe Aham. Aham means me, Niriksha. I want to do Niriksh. I want to do Nirikshan. I want to see. Yodhu Kaman. Kaman means Kamana, desire. Yodh is battle. Avasitan. Who are on the other side? Who has the desire to fight? Kair Maya. Maya means me. Kair means with whom? Saha. Unke saath mein. To whom with? Yodh. Yodha Vyan Asmin Ran Samudyame. So Ran Samudyame means in this run, in this battlefield, whom I'm going to fight with. So in a nutshell, he's speaking with Krishna, Achyuta word used here, and saying, take my chariot in the middle of the army. Why? I want to see both sides. And I want to see who are assembled here, who have desire to fight with me. Now, why I said he's speaking to his chariot driver? Because if you tell your master, for example, take my car there or take my car there. What your master? Why? Kya karna hai? Kyun karna hai? Master will have 100 questions. Go to the next one, Prabhuji, if you can. Don't leave this here as well, but just open a new tab or something and go 23. Now this master, which is Achyuta, Keshav, never asked a question back to Arjuna. So here, Krishna is following Arjuna's instruction as it is. He could have asked question, Arjun, but the Shankhas are blown from both sides. And after blowing the Shankha, what does it mean? The youth is going to start. They are allowed to shoot. All they have to say, shoot. That's it. So all the pre-preparations are done. They're assembled to fight. And Shankhas, if Shankha were not blown, that means the war has not started. But now, technically, the war can be started because they have done all the groundwork. Now, this driver would have asked, Kyun jana hai? Why you want to go? What you want to do there? Huh? Enemy can shoot us. You will be in trouble. I'll be in trouble. 100 questions. But Krishna never asked a question back. Huh? And Arjuna is also sort of saying, take my chariot. Huh? Go back, Prabhuji, that previous verse. Now the word he has used for Krishna, achyut. What does achyut means? Achyut. Achyut means fallible. Achyut means one who is infallible. Multiple meanings of achyut are there. So one is one who never falls from his position. Like Krishna is always Bhagwan. Now we may be in one company today, Rupam Prabhu is smiling. Tomorrow we may change, isn't it? We may change, or company might change us. They do a lot of restructuring and they keep changing their employees. Huh? Anything is possible. Today, where do you work? For ABC. Tomorrow I'll be working from CTE or whatever. So we keep changing. We ask you, how old are you? So today you will say, I am 40 plus or whatever. After one day, your age will change. Your position, your body, everything in the world is changing. But Krishna's position never changes. Another meaning of Acharyas gave, Krishna who never fails to fulfill his promise. Whatever Krishna promises, he always fulfills. And whatever human promises, mostly does not fulfill. Huh? In Hindi, they say, Hamari baat is like gadi ka paiya. Huh? Whatever we say is like the wheel of a car. We say something, it changes, and it doesn't matter for us. Previously, at least people followed their words. When they said something, they will give their life. Bishop Pitama, for example. But Krishna is not like a normal human being. Huh? When he promises something, he always fulfills. Especially if he promises something for himself, he may even break. But if he promises something to a devotee, he never fails to follow his promise. And one example which comes to my mind, and there can be 100. And Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles. I will personally come and drag you back to Godhead. I guarantee, I guarantee, I guarantee. This was Prabhupada speaking. Huh? Prabhupada said that. It's very popular, very popular. Prabhupada said, if you chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulative principles, at the end of your life, I will personally come and drag you back to Godhead. I guarantee, I guarantee, I guarantee.
And chanting can be any of the 3, like Nama Prabhas, Nama Prabhas.
Oh, now we're going too much detail. But just get the point here. Get the point. Prabhupada's statement. So why I'm mentioning this? Now, Prabhupada is a pure devotee of Lord. Now, Lord may desire in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's what Lord says. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami mentions in Chaitanya Charitamrita that anyone who is not Lakpati, I will not accept even a drop of water from his or her hands. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord speaking. So now, Prabhupada contradicting with the Lord? Yes and no. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you chant 60, Lakpati means 64 rounds. 100,000 names of Krishna every day. That's what the expectation was till Prabhupada came. Even Prabhupada initially said 64 rounds, but his disciple said, Prabhupada 64 rounds, no way. And Prabhupada says 32 rounds. And Prabhupada 32, we have to go to work, we have so many. Prabhupada says 16 and no less. No less than 16. Now, Prabhupada has the power to negotiate with Krishna. Now, I can't say anything, right? I have no power. Prabhupada has power. So although Krishna is saying 64 rounds, his devotee is saying 16. Who will win? Who will win in this transcendental fight? His devotee will win. Huh? So although Krishna desires 64 rounds, when Prabhupada said 16 rounds, just by chanting quality 16 rounds, following 4 regs, and being with Prabhupada, being loyal to Prabhupada in the moment, we will go back to God. And Prabhupada said that. He said, I guarantee, I guarantee, I guarantee. The Prabhupada's word, Krishna cannot reject. Krishna cannot, he just doesn't have that power. When Krishna was in Dhamman Lila, he's approaching this 2 Yamalarjun trees. He says in the verse, I don't remember the verse, he says, I have nothing to do with the sons of Kubera, but my dear Narad Muni has promised them, so I will have to go and deliver them. Lord says in the verse, I have nothing to do with them. They are not devotees, they were rascals initially, not now. But because my dear devotee Narad has promised them that I will come and deliver. Okay, what can I say? Huh? So Lord is bound with his promise to his devotees. So whatever devotee, pure devotee says, Lord has to fulfill that. So in terms of Prabhupada, he has actually made it very, 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 very simple. But we struggle with 16 as well. बहुत ज्यादा है 16 actually बहुत कम है, it's very less actually. What is the standard of devotional service. But Prabhupada has negotiated with Krishna for us 25%. You go to Mayas, you get 25% deal. You never get that. They're all cheaters. Sometimes you get 50%. All the old clothing, they put it on 50%. And they say, prices as marked. Then you go and take a dress to the counter and say, this one. But this is not on discount. This is prices as marked. Someone has put in the wrong shelf. But Prabhupada is not changing his situation. He says, if you follow this, I will personally come and drag you back to court. So this is very important. Krishna is Achyut. Always he can break his own promise. He cannot break his promise to his devotees. So Arjun using this word that you are Achyut, you never fail to fulfill the promise. Now you have become my chariot driver. So please take my chariot. So it's very consciously using the word Achyut. If he says Krishna or Keshava, let's put Keshava. So it says in Mahabharata, the word Krishna is not as frequently mentioned as Keshav and Vasudev. And they are considered formal words for Krishna. But Krishna himself is a very homely name, as we know. Vishnu is a formal name. Krishna is a very homely name. So he's using the word Achyut very consciously. So he gives two instructions. What are the two instructions given by Arjun? Take my chariot, and then he gives why I want to see. Next one, 23. And we'll see how Krishna Vacha nahi hai. There's no Shri Bhagavan Vacha now. Krishna.
Prabhu, I just want to add one point here.
Sorry, Prabhu.
I want to just add a point.
Sure, Prabhu.
I heard from one of the lectures, like we know Krishna, the Rishikesha. So it's understand that Krishna made Arjuna to speak this, ask him to instruct Krishna. Is that correct?
Prabhu, can you repeat your
No,
line?
what I'm saying is, we have seen Krishna is the controller of senses, Rishikesha.
Yes, yes.
So Krishna is controlling the sense of Arjuna and asking him to, provoking him to do this.
Yes, yes. We'll see that, Prabhu. It's just coming now. It's
Okay.
just what you said is correct, Prabhu. It's just coming. 23 or 24, I think. 24th verse is like that. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. 123. Would you like to read that? Yosya manan veksheham. Ya ete samagataha. Translation. So he is sort of clarifying his purpose now, which so initially he said, take me and I want to see. He's sort of expanding the meaning. Let me see those who have come here to fight. Now the important word, if you go to the Sanskrit, it says, third line, Dhartarashtrasya, which is Dhritarashtra, means the sons of Dhritarashtra, Durbuddher. Please note this word, and we'll come back to this word later. Durbuddher. Durbuddher means Arjuna boldly declaring to Krishna, they are Durbuddhi. They're not Subuddhi, means what they are doing is not very intelligent. No? They are Durbuddhi. Their buddhi is contaminated with greed, basically. They are Durbuddhi. So Yosemanan Veksheham and Aveksheham, I want to see who are assembled there from the Dhritarashtra side, who are Durbuddhe, and they are Priyachikeshava. They have come here to do good to this evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. So Arjuna is sort of little upset and angry. They are Durbuddhi. Sometimes we become, kids are doing some naughty activities, so grandfather may get a little upset. You little rascal. So he's a little upset. The silly thing you are doing. He's saying, Durbuddhi, evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Let's move. Now, wishing to please, let's move forward in 24 verse. Sanjaya Uvacha, who will read? Someone who has not read as yet. Okay, we'll go to Mahavasu Prabhu. Sorry, on the top of the screen.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Evam Ukto Hrishikesho. Udakeshena Bharata.
Akeshena Bharata.
तेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये
Senayorupayormadhye.
स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्
Stapayitva rathottamam.
Translation, Madhu?
Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties.
Yeah, so now Sanjay is speaking. Evam Ukto, Ukta means to say, Evam Ukto, whatever Arjuna has just said. Hrishikesho, Gudakeshena Bharata. Hrishikesho is referring to obviously Krishna here, Gudakesh referred to Arjuna here. We'll talk about the expansions in a minute. Bharata again is mentioning the descendant of Bharata because he belongs to the dynasty. That word is also used many places in Bhagavad Gita. And what did Krishna did after, taking the words of Arjuna, Senyor Ubhayor Madhye Sthapitva. So he took the Rathottamam, Uttam Ratha, the very fine chariot, Prabhupada writes, drew up the fine chariot, Uttam Ratha. He was not a normal Ratha. Sthapitva, he established, he took the chariot and established it. So he did not ask any questions back. Do you know what will happen? This and so this is the way Bhagavad Gita is mentioned. Whenever Krishna take a position, he follows that position. I'm a chariot driver. My master is saying, take my chariot, so I take the chariot. So many times what happens, suppose if we are seniors than others and we give some service to some other, new devotees, it says we should not poke our nose back again and again in those people. Once you give the seva, you give the seva. And you work under their instruction, and that's what you have chosen. You're given the lead to some other devotee, you follow their lead. If you poke their nose again and again, they lose the confidence actually. And then they cannot perform the seva nicely. It says when you're giving seva, you should choose very consciously who's eligible to do that seva. But once you have given the seva, don't go and poke your nose again and again. Why this and why that? Whatever learnings or teachings you have to give later in private, never in public. It says praise in public, but teachings or learnings or some sharing or criticism, I didn't want to say, that should be done in private. People usually do it other way. They hardly praise, but criticism in public. That's actually very un-Vaishnava, very, very a-Vaishnava etiquette. Anything you have to give feedback, something is not right, that's all right. You can always speak in private. Anyway, so we understand that. So Krishna has followed the instruction of Arjuna. He has taken the chariot, so he did not ask any questions. Let's move forward. But before we forget, actually, two things: Hrishikesho and Gudakesh. I think last week someone, the Bhakti Vijaya Mataji was mentioning the word Gudakesh, which is very nice. So why Arjun's name is Gudakesh here? Mataji, would you like to say what you said earlier? Same thing, but for everyone's benefit.
Meaning of Gudakesh, in the verse, Prabhupada explained as the one who conquers sleep.
Thank you, Mataji. So Guda means sleep, and Kesh means who is the Ishwar, like controller. Ish means controller. Who is the Ishwar of the sleep? Now we are not the Ishwar of sleep. We are the Das of sleep. We are the servant of sleep. Someone asked, Prabhuji, can you please help? Prabhuji, bahut neend aa raha hai. I'm feeling very sleepy. So we cannot control our sleep most of the time. Especially devotees ko sleep ka koi problem nahi hai. Devotees have no problem with the sleep. Open the book anytime, anywhere. You sit in Bhagavatam class. You'll be fully active before Bhagavatam class. As soon as you sit in Bhagavatam class, Viraj Prabhu reading the verses, some nice speakers sitting there. But it's just uncontrollable. You go and sleep in the class. I remember initially when I was coming to temple, I was not sitting inside the classes. And one very senior Vaishnava, Rupa Prabhu, some of you may know, he's in another part of the world now. Anyway, so he will tell me, please go inside the class and hear Bhagavatam. I said, Prabhu, I feel very sleepy. And he said, no, you must go inside and sit. I said, Prabhu, I'm very sleepy inside the class. He said, okay, you go and sleep inside rather than stand and talk here. And I sort of followed his instruction. And no doubt I felt sleepy, but after some time my sleep was gone. So initially we all struggled through that period, but we should just keep sitting in the classes. It's better to sleep in the class rather than, be outside in the corridor. So, and after a while you will see our sleep does go. And many times sleep does come back as well. Anyway, so good occasion. Now, Vishwanath Chakri Thakur, this is the Baldev Vidyabhushan meaning, which I was saying. So what Prabhupada is explaining here, Vishwanath Chakri Thakur gives actually a different meaning. So he says Gudakesh refers to Krishna. Krishna, the Lord. Why Lord? So Buddha, everyone knows good, jaggery. Most of people, devotees actually these days, they don't use sugar, they use jaggery these days. Jaggery is better, healthy. So Buddha means actually jaggery. Jaggery means sweetness, and Ka refers to Brahmaji, and Isha refers to Shivji. One who gives jaggery-like sweetness to even Brahma and Shiva, that Lord. Now, how does that happen? You see, Brahma and Shiva are also watching this battle. Vishwanath Thakur explains this. They're also watching the battle, and when they're watching the battle, they look at, see, we are like Brahma and Shiva, they're very big authorities, very, very big in this universe, and all the universe. They actually hold a great position, great power. Now, Brahmaji is the one who mediates all these demigods with Vishnu. Even Brahmaji only hears the message in the heart. He doesn't even have power to see Vishnu. But he's the one, he's a big person. Shivji is also, he's not even a demigod. He's higher than demigod. He's not Bhagavan. He's not demigod. He's in the middle. Very, very powerful, much powerful than Brahma. They are watching the battle and they're saying, what an amazing master we have. Krishna, He is the master of us. We are so-called master of the world, right? Brahma is also known as master of the world. Shivji as well many times. Shivji is pronounced as Bhagwan, and he is one sense. He's pretty big controller. But he's saying we are master of the world. But look at our master, Krishna, or Supreme Personality of God. He has become the servant of his devotee. Wow, what a great master we have. So just by looking at this, they are relishing the sweetness which Krishna carries. Now, have you seen Vishnu becoming a chariot driver of any devotee? That's the sweetness given by Krishna. Is one of these qualities. He becomes the chariot driver, which is a very, very simple position. In our country, when I say our country, India, not here so much in Australia, everyone drives their own car. When you go somewhere, you go with the driver. That's considered more respectful. And then driver doesn't usually come inside the house. Driver will stay in the car and you'll send his tea in the car. Samosa or tea, whatever you want to offer. Driver driver room is separate. Driver is not considered a very big position, but Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of even Shiva and Brahma, has become a simple driver. And just now we saw Arjun spoke 2 verses, and he followed the instruction of Arjun. Hey, I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How come you instructing me? You telling me to drive the chariot? Did not one word you see here. Krishna did not speak a word. He did not ask any question. Master said, take the chariot. He took the chariot. Why you want to take? Okay, no problem. No questions asked. So Brahma and Shiva, by looking at this quality of Krishna, is completely relishing. Sweetness is coming there. So word Buddhakesh is also referring to Krishna here. And Rishikesh, I think Rasanand Prabhu was mentioning earlier, he is the controller of the senses, right? Prabhupada writes that he's the controller of the senses. And what Prabhuji mentioned, I will mention that in 1 or 2 verses later. He mentioned very nice point. Okay, let's move forward. (125).
I can read, Prabhu.
Who would read? Yes, please, Prabhu.
Bhishma Drona Pramukhyaktya
Bhishma Drona Pramukhatah
Sarvesham cha Mahishitam
Sarvesham cha Mahishitam
Uvacha Partha Pasyantam
Uvacha Partha Pashyanta
Samavetan Kurun iti.
Samaveta Kuruniti.
In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold Partha, all the Kurus assembled here.
Hare Krishna. Now, as Acharyas explained, this is one of the turning verses in whole Bhagavad Gita. This verse turned the whole Bhagavad Gita. You will see why. So now 124 said, so 123 and 122, 123 said, Arjun asked Krishna, take my chariot. I want to see the armies who have assembled here to fight with me in this battle. So 124, we saw Krishna said, fine. He didn't say anything. Actually, he said, yeah, go there. And he established the chariot there. Now, this is the first verse where Krishna has spoken few words. We say that Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna, definitely. but he's the first word is spoken by Krishna technically in Bhagavad Gita. This is the first. So 125 is the first words spoken by Krishna, not the full words, just few words here. So when he has taken the chariot in the middle of both armies, you can imagine Bhishma, Drona, and all the main warriors on the other side, on this side and this side. So obviously Arjuna is not looking at Yudhishthira and Nakul and Sahadev, he's looking at the other side, because that's what he wanted to see. So he established the Ratha, and then in the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and other chieftains of the world, Mahikshitam. So Mahi refers to Prithvi, Mahikshitam. Uvach Partha. Now Krishna is saying, Uvach Partha. Partha refers to obviously Arjun. Pashyetan. So you remember the Pashya word is used in the past as well. Niriksha. Niriksha means I want to see. Iksha. Iksha refers to eyes. Aksha, Niriksha. Now here the word uses Pashyetan. So now Krishna is saying to Partha or Arjuna, just behold Partha. Kuru iti. So Kuru refers to Kuru dynasty. Now before that, you see, I think in the introduction, second or third week, we looked at this is all the Vansha, the dynasty of Kuru Maharaj. Even Pandavas are Kurus and Kauravas are obviously Kurus, because they come from the same Raja, same dynasty. But for the technical classification, we say this is Pandavas and these are Kauravas. They're like the mainstream line, you can say, because of the throne, and they are the Pandavas, son of Pandu. But here, Krishna is referring all of them, including Arjuna, as Kuru. Now, whenever we hear anyone from Bangladesh, there were some attacks in the Bangladesh temple last year.
No, recently again there was an attack.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
2 days back.
Oh, really? Again, so sad. So suppose if we are from that country where these mishaps are happening and someone mentions our country name, we get little emotional about that. Something is happening in our Kanpur or Punjab or Calcutta, because we are born from that land, we have some attachment by that name. If some mishaps are happening, so we become attached. If some mishaps are happening in our family, for example, everyone in this city, say for example, Bangladesh, wherever the city is, all the Hindus are getting trouble, for example. So Hindus, just by hearing the word, will have some sort of emotional attachment. But when the other party is getting some sort of other things, will not be attached, because we don't identify ourselves with that other name. We only identify ourselves with our name. India, something's happening, or our land. So here, Krishna is using the word Kuru, which refers to all the Kauravas as well as Arjuna. It shows that Krishna is trying to entice Arjuna to identify himself with them. And that's the point Rasanand Prabhu was mentioning earlier, that Krishna encourages Arjuna to get bewildered. Because Krishna wants to give something big here. If there's a straight fight, we'll not be sitting here and doing Bhakti Shastri on Bhagavad Gita. Might be doing some other thing, right? Because Krishna wants to do some Leela here. And when he wants to do Leela, he doesn't do Leela just in a straight way. Because he is Tribhanga Lalitam. He's bent at 3 places. If Lord Ram was there, he will say straight. Whatever he wants to do, he will do it straight. Lord Ram is very straight person. He stands straight, he looks straight, he does straight things. Ek Patani Vrata. Krishna, nothing is straight. He stands in 3-banded form, he looks in the pointed eyes, he will be in the courtyard of one gopi and looking at another gopi with a side glance. He will say something, it will mean something. So he's very, very complex. And that's why one of the speakers was saying, how would you understand Krishna? You cannot understand Krishna. Don't try to understand Krishna or his plan. He says, just follow Krishna's plan. Don't try to understand why Krishna is doing that and why Krishna is doing that. He said, you can never understand Krishna or his plans. But what we can do, as per your ability in that situation, follow Krishna's plan. And in due course of time, the plan may be revealed to you. Because Krishna is always a well-wisher of his devotee. So here it says, Kurun iti, the word Kuru, Kurus assembled here, not Kauravas is Kurus. Kurus means you as well. So all of you have assembled here. So this will sort of a weak point of Arjuna. Arjuna is a very nice devotee. Prabhupada writes, I think 25 or 26. Arjuna is a very nice devotee. Obviously, he's a nice devotee. So a nice devotee, one of the characteristics of devotees is compassionate. Devotees don't want war. This says even this war, Pandavas tried their best not to have the war. Krishna also tried. Bhima also tried. But eventually what happened? So Krishna actually said in Mahabharata, I want to show the whole world, my devotees are not the instigators of the war. My devotees don't instigate the war. They were happy even with 5 villages. Although technically they own the kingdom, but even if you give us 5 villages, we are happy. But now even that was not given. So what option do we have? Prabhupada said, then you have to do what you have to do. You try your best not to do all this fighting and quarrel and all that, but eventually you live in a world which is dirty. So he said, then last option, maybe you do what you need to do. So here Krishna is sort of not at the front, not explicitly, but implicitly actually trying to encourage a feeling in Arjuna's heart that you're also the same person. And let's see what happens next now, when the Kuru word is used. Next word, the next verse. Yes,
why was Krishna?
Yes, so that's why it's just he's still in the position of a chariot driver. He just said something to his Raja. You asked me to do something, I have done it. Look at all the Kurus assembled here. It's not a very significant statement, but it's a significant verse. Chariot, you say to your chariot driver, your car driver, for example, take me to ISKCON temple. And said, Sahab, aa gaya. my dear sir, temple aa gaya. It's not a very, technically speaking, a very big statement. You asked him to do what he wanted to do, wherever he wanted to go. He did that. Something like that. It's not a, but the significance of this is very great because of the word used here. He's externally very simple. Just behold Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. So basically he's saying externally, look at all this. But he's using a word, Kuru, which is identifiable by Arjuna. Okay, we're moving to the next one. Prabhu just asked a question, sorry, I forgot to report that why Shri Bhagavan Vacha is not there, because the whole verse is not Shri Bhagavan Vacha, it's just few words. And they were externally very simple words. You asked me to take the chariot, I have got the chariot, look at that. You said, I want to look at it now. Very simple, but inner it has a deep meaning. Shri Bhagavan Vacha will see later. It's the only words spoken by Krishna in this particular chapter. Just few words. 126. Anyone? A clever who has not read, they can read, so we all participate.
I can read to you if it's okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
Manish.
Manish
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Okay, Manish Prabhuji, would you like to?
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. Tatra paschat sitan partha
Pashyatsitan partha
pitranatha pitamahan
Pitranatha pitamahan
acharyan matulan bhatran
Acharyan matulan bhatran
putran pautran sakhims tatha
Putran pautran sakhims tatha
swasuran suharadas chaiva
Sasuran suhradaschaiva
tenayoruvayorapi.
Tenayoruvayorapi.
Translation. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thanks, Prabhu.
So here's the verse 26, where you see the word Pashyan used for the third time. So you see, just count the occurrences, and this word is so common, and we'll explain the significance a little later. Pashyan, Pashyan, Pashyan. Tatra Pashyan. When he arrived there, he saw Istan Partha, Pitra Pita Mahan. So Pitra, not Pitran actually. So Pitran, he looked at the fathers means father figure like Chacha, uncles. So whoever like fathers, he saw them. So Somadatta was like a father figure to Arjuna. We discussed Somadatta and Bursha, their Bahalik line. But the same Pitamahan, Pitamaha is like Bhishma. So he was there. Acharyan refers to Dronacharya and Kripacharya because both were there. Obviously, Dronacharya was the main teacher, but Kripacharya was also taking some classes here and there. No? So he's also like a guru. Matulan refers to Mamaji. Who's a Mamaji here? Maternal uncle, Shakuni. He's referring to Shakuni. Like Arjun is a devotee, saw even before Shakuni is Mama. No? Respected Shakuni. No? Shalya. Thank you, Prabhuji. Shalya is also Mama. Thank you. Shakuni and Shalya. Thank you. So Shalya is also his Madri's brother, and Madri is the mother of Arjun that way. Bhatran. So Bhatran refers to Bhai, brothers. Who is the brothers? Like Duryodhan and all his brothers. Like Arjun, inside his heart was not very inimical to all of them. He was trying to look them as best as possible, as brothers. No? Yudhishthira also made a statement when in Kamyavan, when Duryodhan was attacked by Gandharvas. You remember that incident? And they came for help. So Bhima was not going. Arjun obviously was like reluctant. Bhima said, I am not going. What sort of brother you are? They put us in trouble. Now they are in trouble. We should rejoice. Yudhishthira made a statement. For inside, we are 105, but for outsiders, we are 105. We are all together. We are all brothers. So they had that sort of vision, especially Yudhishthira. So they're looking at their brothers. What's that? Putran. Putran, who was the Putran? So then the sons of Duryodhan were present there. Actually, grandsons of Duryodhan was also present in the war. So Putran, Putran is many Putras, many sons. Patran, he looked at Patra as well. Putran also refers to Abhimanyu is also present there. Abhimanyu's brothers are also present there. Patran, you can also say, not on the battlefield, but Parikshit was in the book this time. Obviously not in the battlefield, but Patran were there. So Duryodhan's grandson was Sakhis. So Sakha was there. Sakha here refers to Ashwathama. Ashwathama, Arjun considered like his Sakha because he is Acharya Putra. He's a son of Dronacharya. He was his Sakha. Ashwathama didn't consider Arjun as good Sakha as Arjun considered him. And we'll see this as a great place in Srimad Bhagavatam, where we see Arjun said to Draupadi that I will get the head of that person. But when he saw Ashwathama, he's a killer, he's a murderer of my own son, but he just grabbed the whole. And then Draupadi, muchate, choto, please release him. And then Arjun didn't do anything to Ashwathama. But Ashwathama was still very angry, still trying to attack. So many times. So Sakha is there. And Shashur, father-in-law is also there, like Drupat Maharaj was there on this side, and similarly on the other side, Duryodhan's father-in-laws were there. They were as good as Arjun's father-in-law. Suhrat, there were many well-wishers, like Kritavarma was there. Kritavarma, who comes from Dwaraka, we discussed about Kritavarma, who's the head of the army given by Krishna. And they are all actually like a sakha. They played together in Gurukul. They've gone to each other's houses. They were Suhrat of Arjun, but now they're acting in an opposite party. Shalya, for example, he was a Suhrat of Pandavas. He came to help Pandavas, but eventually ended up in their camp for some reason. Same Europe. So when he now Ubhaya word is also important. Ubhaya means both sides. So he's looking at both sides actually. So he's referring to different people primarily on the other side, but he's looking at this side as well, because when our family get together happens, say in this country, Christmas, the family get together lunch, they take some time. Otherwise, getting together a family is very difficult these days. Everyone is so busy. When the father and the son or daughters meet together, they have to take appointments these days. This day, that day will come, and that sister is not available, that brother is not available. So Christmas, many of them at least, they come together, 10, 12. So meeting two generations together is difficult, but when that happens, it's a joyous occasion. Everyone in the family is happy. Meeting three generations is very, very difficult. Grandfather is there, father is there, and son and sister. So they're very difficult. Even in India these days, very difficult. Some people say, my sister is in America, I'm in Australia, my father is here, brother is in Germany. Getting together, family, 2 generations, 3 generations is very, very difficult. But when they come, we feel so happy. We met our brother after 12 years or something. Real blood brother. Now here, not only 2 generations are meeting, 3. There are 5 generations meeting, because Arjun's grandfather, Bhishma Pitama is present, right? 2 generations up. His generation and 2 down, Patran. Arjun's Patra, grandsons are also. 5 generations are meeting, but not for a joyous occasion, for mutual destruction. It's a very sad situation. Now, how often would these guys meet? Not much often, right? Although they are in a Vedic culture, but meeting these 5 generations at one place altogether is difficult. They have come together now. We'll say, wow, amazing. 5 generations people coming together. But why they are coming together? To kill each other, to fight with each other. And we will see. Practically no one will survive. No one will come out. No? Only 10, 11 people will come out of this whole war. So Arjun, when saw all this, what happens? Verse 27.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can
Hare
I
Krishna.
ask you, in the purport, Prabhupada has mentioned the son like Lakshmana. So who's that?
Lakshmana is the son of Duryodhan.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So we get the story of Lakshmana in 10th canto of Bhagavatam. He was married with the daughter of Krishna. So Duryodhan was Sasur, in-law of Krishna. So when Duryodhan went to see Krishna when he was sleeping before the war, we know that story. No soldier on the door stopped him because he was the in-law. So Duryodhan was Samdhi. I don't know what's the English word of Samdhi. Huh? Samdhi of Krishna. In-law of Krishna. Not true. Yeah, Samdhi is better. I don't know the English. We all understand Samdhi. Huh? So Duryodhan and Krishna were Samdhis actually. There's a big story behind it, how their marriage happened. There's another pastime. There's a big fight. Usual. Balram had to get involved. Whole Hastinapur was a mistake. Anyway, is that okay, Prabhu? Yeah, okay. Move forward, 127. Someone, Sonia Mataji, you were trying to read the last verse. Maybe you can read this one.
Okay, Prabhuji. Tan samikshya sa kaunteya sarvan bandhun avasthitan kripaya parayavishto vishidan nidima bravit. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
So now you see in the verse, Tan Samiksha, Iksha word is there. Iksha again is looking, in the sense of fourth occurrence. I may have lost fourth or fifth, whatever, I think fourth, but it may be fifth. What I'm saying, so many occurrences of this word are coming again and again. Tan, to those Samiksha, after looking at them, Sakonteya, Kuntiputra, the son of Kunti, Sarvan Bandhun. Bandhu word is used, relative, Sarvan, all of them, Avasthitan, situated there. Kripaya, so Prabhupada translates Kripaya as compassion. Paraya, bestow. Paraya, of high grade compassion. Avasthita, he is overwhelmed with high grade of compassion. What is the result of that? Vishidan, is he starts lamenting, abravid, and he starts saying something. So in terms of, in the mood of lamentation, he is speaking something. So previously, as we saw, he only spoke 1.5 words. He said to Krishna, take my chariot in the middle of both armies, and I want to see both who have assembled here for fighting purposes. Now, from 28 onwards, we'll see a series of verses by Arjuna, practically in the whole chapter, and a little bit of next as well, where he will give these 5 reasons, which we have sort of discussed in the PDF file. So, Kripaya Paryavishto. So this is very nice, the second line. Yes, he became overwhelmed with compassion. And Prabhupada will write in the next verse, because Arjun, the compassion is the quality of a devotee, and Arjun being a pure devotee, he became compassionate. Not that he was a coward, he was not trying to run away from the field just by looking at him. He was a very powerful warrior. He has defeated them many times. But he became compassionate. So this word here, Paryavishto, high grade, not just lamentation, I'm in doubt. No. He is fully lamenting, and he will see, even he will say, I'm crying. Next verse. Arjuna, what is 28 onwards, we'll see what Arjuna is feeling, and he will express his feelings to Krishna. Someone would like to read verse 28? We'll go till 6:15 and then we'll stop maybe 10 minutes more.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I'm happy to read.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha
Dristvemam svajanam Krishna.
Dristvemam svajanam Krishna.
Yutsam samupashtitam.
Yutsam samupasthitam.
Siddhanti mamagatrani.
Siddhanti mamagatrani.
Pamcha parisusyati.
Kamcha parishusyati.
Translation. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up."
So this is the first verse, you can say, in that mood which Krishna is speaking. Again, sorry, someone saying something? Okay, no. Drashtemam. Huh? So this is the fifth occurrence of the word. Drashta, see, again, see. Drashtemam, swajanam. And here the first time. So previously, you remember what Arjun was saying about Dhritarashtra? Durbhe, durbuddhir. You remember the word durbuddhi was used? Huh? Who are these present here to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra? Durbuddhi. Now he's saying those durbuddhis have converted to swajana. You see, the compassion has already arisen in the heart of Arjuna. He's saying Swajan. Now they are Swajan. Previously, they were like, I want to see. He was ready for the war, actually. Huh? Durbuddhi. And that's what any warriors will say for the opposite party. You are Durbuddhi. Opposite party will say, you are Durbuddhi. And we experience that in our little quarrels. Huh? Everyone thinks I'm right, other person is wrong. Anyway, so now Arjuna is saying this time. So this drashti is very, very important. So drashtema swajanam Krishna. Now he is referring Krishna as Krishna. And as I said earlier, Krishna is a very intimate name for Krishna. Huh? When he said Achyut or Keshava, they are like formal names. Vasudev, sorry, Vasudev is the father, Vasudev is the Krishna. But Krishna itself is a very, very intimate name. Now he's not talking to his chariot driver, he's talking to his friend. Oh, my dear friend, look at my swajan, look at my own relatives. Huh? Why they are here? He again explained. Yuyutsu means, you remember this word used in 1.2 as well. Yus means yuddha. Samupastetam, they have all gathered here. For what purpose? For yuddha. And they are swajan. By looking at them, drashtemam, swajanam Krishna, by looking at all my relatives who have assembled here for what purpose? Yuyutsu. Yuyutsu means yuddha, battle. Siddhanti mam gatrani. So, mam gatrani. Gatrani refers to his senses, limbs of his body. Right? Gatrani refers to limbs of his body. Siddhanti mam gatrani. Quivering. My limbs are quivering. Now, Arjuna is not a simple person. You remember in Virat, when Kauravas attacked, and the son of Virat, what was his name? Uttam. Uttam said in the back home, I will go and defeat all the Karna and Bhishma and all that. And the sister, what's her name? Uttara. Uttara said, can you get me some things? He said, I'll get the cloth of them to decorate your dolls. That's what his statements were. When he saw the Kaurava army, he started running. And Arjuna had to practically, drag him back on the chariot. So when these boys, they speak of big words, but when they see Bhishma Pitama and Karna and Duryodhana, they were big fighters, big warriors. So their limbs of the body quivers, that's all right. But Arjuna is not such. Arjuna has defeated all of them single-handedly in Virat and at other places as well. But this person, Siddhanti mam gatrani, my gatrani, my limbs of my body are Siddhanti, quivering. And what has happened to me? Mukham cha parishushati, my mouth has become dry. If you have gone for an interview or something, you see some emotional changes happen in your body. What do you call this? Butterfly in the stomach. You're going for an interview or some important thing. You have butterflies in the stomach. Good. You'll hear some noises. So your body may feel very cold. You're not normal that time. So these external changes of the body in Arjun himself is explaining. What else? We'll see in the next verse. So this is the first verse in Arjun series. Yeah, next one. Okay, what else is happening? Anyone else can read?
Prabhuji, I can try.
Okay.
Vepatascha sharire ma. Roma harsa cha jayate. Gande vamsha sramaste hastat. Vakchaiva pridayate. Translation: my whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning.
Yeah, so there's more symptoms of his body explained again by Arjun himself. Vepathuscha sharire me. So my sharir is trembling, my body is trembling. Roma harshascha jayate. My Roma, my hairs on the body are standing. Now hairs stand on two occasions. When we hear some nice news, sometimes the hair stand at the end. And also when we see some terrible event, out of fear. When a terrorist come in front of you, your hair may stand. It says, when you hear about terrorists, that itself is fearful. But when they come in front of you with the loaded guns, and they don't listen to philosophy, they only have one philosophy: press the trigger as fast as possible. So his situation obviously is the second one. There's no joyful news here. Roma harshas, Prabhupada, right? Standing of hair on end, which we all experience in multiple situations. Roma harshas jayate is taking place. The hairs are standing. And what else is happening? Gandivam sanste hastat. So Gandiva is the famous bow of Arjuna. Very, very powerful bow. Arjun himself has taken a vow that whoever calls me, I'm not legible to take this weapon in my hand, I'll kill him. And that we see in the sense of Arjun and Yudhishthira. Not talk in this instance today. Anyway, very famous bow of Arjun. He loves his Gandiv. He is very much qualified to have this, but that Gandiv, since the first time in his life, is slipping from his hastat, from his hand. Hastat. And what else is happening? Tok means tvacha, the skin on your body. Tok chai paridayate. Dahana means burning. Paridayate, in a high degree. Dahyate, you get a fever. 99 degree or 105 degrees. A big difference. So your tvacha, your skin burns in fevers. So my skin is burning, my whole body is trembling, my hairs are standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. So you see all these external changes in the body of Arjun. Prabhupada writes is due to his compassionate heart. But also he writes, just 1 second, I'll read Prabhupada 1944. There are two kinds of trembling of the body and two kinds of standing of hair on end. Such phenomena occurs either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. Now here we see second one applies for Arjuna. Okay, next one we'll go and then we'll stop. We'll just do one more verse, then we'll stop. 30. Anyone would like to read?
I can.
Okay, Ujjwala Mataji.
Yeah. Nacha shoknami avasthatum.
Nacha shaknomi avasthatum.
Primatva cha me manaha. Nimittani cha pashyami. Viparatani Keshava. Translation: I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Nacha Shaknomi Avasthatum. Shaknomi Prabhupada writes, I am able. Na, I am not able to. Avasthatum. So, what he was doing that time was standing with his Gandhi in his hand, sort of ready to fight that time. But he's saying, now I am not able to stand any longer because of his bodily changes, which he has explained in the previous two verses. And then he said, Brahmativa chame manaha. My mind, Prabhupada writes, is reeling. Reeling is sometimes, you feel dizzy or vertigo. You pay dandavas, you must have felt 40 pluses at least. You get up and you feel a dizziness actually. Sometimes it happens. Huh? What do you call? Head rash. Okay. Vertigo, I've heard this word. Anyway, similar things. We all understand. So our blood doesn't circulate to the brain anymore. You're lying. So Arjuna is saying, my mind is really bhamati. The Sanskrit word is there. I'm forgetting myself. By basically what he's saying, my mind is not in my control. I cannot think clearly. My body is not in my control. So basically, I am unable to fight. And then he says, what's the result of that? Nimittani chapashyami. Nimittani, Prabhupada writes as the science. Nimittani is causes. So it's also one of the meaning of Nimittani. As per Bhagavatam, first canto, when Yudhishthira Maharaj is waiting for Arjuna and he's looking at different omens. There's a word in English, omen. What's the Sanskrit word for that? Apshakun, Hindi, for it, Apshakun, sixth sense or something. Apshakun, omens. So Nimittani, causes, omens. So Nimittani is what Arjuna is saying? Chapashyami. So Pashyami again, right? Sixth occurrence or something. I'll explain this word next time. It's a pretty big word. So Nimittani Chapashyami. What I see is Nimittani Viparitani. Viparitani is opposite. So whenever we go for some udyama, when we get out of the house, we go for some nice purpose, isn't it? No one goes out for getting killed or something. We go out for a nice purpose. So, but what I see here, Nimittani Chapashyami Viparitani. So we will not achieve the right purpose, we will achieve the bad purpose, the other purpose, Viparitani, opposite purpose. I see only causes of misfortune. And now the last word for Krishna here uses Keshava. So as Prabhupada writes here, oh Krishna, the killer of Keshi demon. Now why Arjuna is using this word? So as you have killed the Keshi demon, we all know Keshi demon in 10th canto of Bhagavatam, that horse demon, very big demon, but Krishna killed him very, very easily. So many times this word Madhusudan, Keshav is being used in Bhagavad Gita or elsewhere. It basically asking Krishna for help. As you have killed the demon of doubt, Keshi or Madhu, you also kill the demon of doubt in my mind. So there's an external demon, now there's an internal demon. So it applies on us. Many times we have different doubts on Krishna or on the philosophy of Krishna. Where is Krishna? Many times we say this, Krishna had to dikhao, abhi dikhao. Or we have some philosophical doubts. Why did Krishna do that? Why he does that? And how we are here and all those things. So these doubts can be cleared actually by the mercy of Krishna. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. Many times we cannot logically argue these things. Why cow dung is auspicious? Prabhuji. Why Shankha? Shankha is a bone. Why Shankha is allowed in the puja? You should not even touch someone's jutha plate, but you take the Shankha before the Aarti, for example. So all these things are basically there in the Shastra, and you should have faith in Shastra. You cannot logically argue about it. It's written in Shastra, you believe in Shastra. That's where you start, and slowly you'll see the faith will develop in your heart. Why? Because Guru's mercy is coming in your heart. So here, the word of Keshav is you have killed the Keshi demon. Similarly, you kill the demon of doubt in my mind, which is not balanced at this stage. He said, my mind is reeling, I cannot. So Arjuna has shown his external symptoms as well as his internal symptoms, and he's sort of going towards Krishna now. Not explicitly as yet. He will go explicit in the second chapter. Okay, I'll stop here. It's usually we stop at 6:15, at 6:18. That's all right. Anyone has any quick questions or comments we can take?
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, I just want to ask you one question. I mean, yes, there are two questions. Anywhere Krishna's name is been expressed in the verses, there is a reasoning that is been explained, right? But what is the reasoning behind when Arjuna says Krishna as a word in the verses? Because when you say Keshi demon, it says that yes, is the killer of the Keshi. Yes, but what is the reason for Krishna then?
Yes, I think I mentioned that Krishna is a very intimate name, very, very intimate. So before he gave instruction to his chariot driver, take my chariot, Achyuta, take my chariot. And then he says Krishna. Krishna means now he's speaking to his friend Krishna. Is his intimate friend who is expressing his heart. You don't express the heart to your car driver, do you? When you go to India, you hire a car to go to X to Y, wherever. Even if you see something wrong there, you don't start expressing your heart to driver. The only thing you speak to a driver, so why are you taking so long? Why are you charging me higher price or something like that? Now he's speaking with Krishna, who is an intimate friend. Krishna is a very intimate address to Krishna.
And the second one was
Yes.
importance of Gandivam.
Importance of Gandhi. So, I said,
can you explain something about that bow? Because obviously every time that we listen about Arjuna carrying Gandivam, but we don't know what is Gandivam. Like what is the importance of his bow?
Okay. So Gandiva.
How did it come? I mean,
okay.
Is
I
there any
think
story
given by some demigod. I can't remember. Agni is given by Agni. Yes, some demigod. I can't remember, but Rupa Prabhu is saying Agni. So
I know Buddha was given by Agni.
Okay, so let's play safe because Prabhu, some demigod had given this.
I think it's given by Lord Shiva. I think Prabhu.
Lord Shiva.
Is it?
Yeah,
I
when he
don't
went
know.
to
So
the
I
war.
That's
don't.
Pashupata.
Okay, so given different opinions and we respect everyone, say a demigod. This was given by a demigod. Again, it's a very powerful bow. And I've also heard, again, not technically, don't quote me here, the weight of Gandhi was 22,000 kilos. 22,000 kilos. It could shoot 6 different types of arrows simultaneously on 6 different opponents at the same time. So Gandhi is such a bow given by one powerful demigod, which we are confused about, Agni or Indra or Shiva. And I don't want to quote because I don't know. I don't remember at this stage. I know, but I can't remember. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, it's a very special bow given to a very eligible, qualified person. We can, what to speak of Gandhi, we were 2 kilo bow we cannot lift. It was 22,000 kilos. It was only meant for this guy, only meant for Arjuna. Imagine the strength of Arjuna, even to hold Gandhi, what to speak of. And it says when Arjuna shoot arrows from the Gandhi, it looks like Arjuna will change the arrow. Obviously, like when you shoot an arrow, then you have to take the next arrow. Arjuna will shoot with such a speed, you cannot see Arjuna's hand when he goes to pivot and picks up the arrow and put it on the bow. He was such an eligible person, and he could shoot 6 different types of arrows at the same time at 6 different types of enemies. Prabhu Arjuna was very, very special. He is Nar Narayan. You know, what can you say about it? Huh? So Gandhi, very, very special bow, Prabhu. Okay, I will leave it there aside. It's not proper source. Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. Some Manohar Prabhuji.
Hari Bol Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I'm just curious about something. Krishna's soldiers, his army, was on the side of Duryodhana. And actually, they were not necessarily siding with Duryodhana. They were just doing their duty. Outwardly, it looked like they were opposite side. Yes. So they were all killed. So is there any deeper reason, like, or it was just their time to go, or what was, or Leela, or what was it?
Yeah, okay. So Mataji's question is, it's Krishna's personal army, which Krishna had given to Duryodhana. They were doing the duty, which is correct. They were not necessarily siding the Duryodhana as, he's my king, he's doing the right thing. No. Yes, Mataji, they were doing duty. And now why they were killed? Now, Mataji, just to add on to that, everyone was killed, including the sons of Arjun. Abhimanyu was killed, and there's great pastime behind it. His other sons were killed. Like, practically speaking, everyone was killed. So yes, as you correctly mentioned, their time was up. Krishna came here, as Kunti Maharani said in Bhagavatam, Bhara Avataranai Anye. You have come here to lighten the weight of the earth. Even Dhritarashtra in Mahabharata says to Krishna, I know why you, this is before war I'm talking, I know why you have come here. You have come here to lighten the weight of the earth. And he says, whatever you want, that will happen. Dhritarashtra also knew every one of my son and the alliances were going to get killed in the war. So yes, that was the reason. And even eventually, you see, whatever Sena was left in Dwarka, that was also killed. Isn't it? Prabhasa Kshetra, Mausal Leela, we see in Bhagavatam, everyone got killed. Krishna brought them and Krishna took them away. But for this particular piece of army, that was the time. Later on, other Dwarka soldiers, even Satyaki will get killed later on. Kritavarma will get killed. Kritavarma in the war didn't get killed. Later on, Kritavarma will be killed by Satyaki in Prabhasa. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Krishna, basically, number-wise, made 64 crore people to get killed in 18 days. Now we talk about this corona. some lakhs people died. I don't know, 1.5 million or something in the world wise. Krishna is super good. 64 crore people in 18 days. So pretty big number. Krishna wanted that. But it says in Shastra, everyone went back to Godhead. That's why looking at Krishna. And Arjun was shooting them the arrows. So their body was destroyed by Arjuna and the soul was purified by the sight glance of Krishna. So every single member who participated in the war, either this side or that side, they all went back to Godhead. So such a great occasion actually, no? You all go back to God, otherwise we are stuck. Vyasadeva tells Yudhishthira was lamenting on the death of Abhimanyu. And Vyasadeva said, you should not lament on the death of Abhimanyu. He's already gone and achieved the destination. You should lament about yourself, because you are stuck here. If we are all going in a journey and someone arrives earlier than us to the destination and we are crying about that person, we should cry about us. We are stuck. You're flying from here to India. You get stuck in Thailand or somewhere. Corona and whatever. You get stuck here. And who have arrived, you should appreciate. That Prabhuji arrived, that Mataji arrived. I didn't arrive. But if you cannot see where they have gone and you are crying, it's not very intelligent actually. So Vyasadeva tells, he has gone to the destination. You should worry about yourself. You are stuck here. So we should worry about ourselves. They actually, every single, as I say, soldier in participating in Mahabharata war went back to Godhead. Every single one. That's what Shastra says, just by the glance of Krishna. And Krishna came here for that purpose. Later, he took Yadavas as well. Okay, let's stop here. If you have any more questions, we can definitely take. It's 6:26 now. Thank you very much, everyone.